There is a building near you right now that you have probably never noticed. It has no windows. It has no signage. It sits behind a security perimeter that most people walk past without looking twice. But inside that building, every email you have ever sent is stored. Every photo you have backed up to the cloud lives there. Every transaction your bank has ever processed runs through it. Every search query you entered this morning passed through a building exactly like it. This building does not make a product you can hold. It does not sell anything you can see, but it charges for every second of every hour of every day. And it is one of the most profitable businesses in the modern economy. This is a data center, and the industry built around it is quietly reshaping the physical landscape of the entire planet. The global data center market was worth approximately $260 billion in 2023. It is projected to exceed $600 billion by 2030. That growth rate makes it one of the fastest expanding industries in the history of infrastructure investment. For context, the entire global hotel industry generates around $500 billion annually. The buildings that store the world's data are on track to be worth more than the buildings that house the world's travelers. To understand how a data center makes money, you need to understand what it is actually selling. A data center does not sell data. It sells space, power, and cooling. Every client inside a data center is paying for three things simultaneously. First, physical space, measured in server racks. Second, electrical power, measured in kilowatts. Third, network connectivity, measured in bandwidth. And the data center charges for all three every second, whether those resources are being fully used or sitting partially idle. The industry has two primary business models. The first is called co-location. In a co-location facility, the building owner provides the space, power, and cooling infrastructure. The client brings their own servers, installs them in the rented rack space, and operates them independently. Major co-location operators include Equinix and Digital Realty, companies most people have never heard of that generate billions in annual revenue. Equinix alone operates over 250 data centers across more than 30 countries. It generates over $8 billion in revenue every year, from a business built entirely on renting space inside climate-controlled buildings. The second model is the hyperscale data center. Hyperscale facilities are built and operated by technology giants, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Meta, to run their own cloud services. These are not rental facilities. They are private industrial complexes built at a scale that strains the imagination. A single hyperscale data center can cover over 1 million square feet. It can consume enough electricity to power a city of 100,000 people. It can cost over $1 billion to construct. And Amazon Web Services alone operates hundreds of them globally. In 2024, Microsoft announced plans to invest $100 billion in AI data center infrastructure. $100 billion in buildings. The economics of data center operation are driven by a concept called power usage effectiveness, or PUE. PUE measures how efficiently a data center converts incoming electricity into useful computing power. The best hyperscale facilities in the world achieve a PUE of around 1.1 to 1.2. Legacy data centers from the early 2000s often had PUEs of 2.0 or higher, meaning half of all electricity consumed was pure waste. The difference between those two numbers, at the scale of a hyperscale facility consuming hundreds of megawatts, represents hundreds of millions of dollars in annual savings. Efficiency is not an environmental metric in the data center industry. It is the primary driver of competitive advantage and profit margin. Water is the invisible resource at the center of data center economics. Most data centers use water-based cooling systems to remove heat from computing equipment. Google's data centers used approximately 21 billion liters of water in 2022 alone. In regions already experiencing water stress, the consumption of data centers is becoming a significant geopolitical issue. Some communities have pushed back against new data center developments, specifically because of water competition. Location is perhaps the most important economic variable in the entire data center business. Data centers need to be close to the populations they serve because physical distance adds latency, but they also need cheap electricity, reliable water access, and stable geology. Northern Virginia, specifically a corridor known as Data Center Alley, is the single largest concentration of data center capacity on Earth. More than 70% of the world's internet traffic passes through this region every single day. A strip of suburban land in Virginia processes more digital information per second than anywhere else on the planet. The artificial intelligence revolution is now creating a new category of data center demand that is fundamentally different from anything the industry has handled before. Traditional data centers are built around CPU-based computing, general-purpose processors running standard workloads. AI workloads run on GPUs that consume significantly more power per rack than traditional server configurations. A traditional server rack might consume 5 to 10 kilowatts. An AI training rack, equipped with the latest NVIDIA GPUs, can consume 60 to 100 kilowatts or more. This density difference means that data centers built for AI cannot simply be traditional data centers with better servers. They require entirely different cooling architectures, including liquid cooling delivered directly to chips. The entire data center industry is currently undergoing a forced evolution driven by GPU density. NVIDIA's dominance in AI computing hardware has made it the most consequential supplier in the entire data center ecosystem. The investment flowing into data center construction has made it one of the most competitive real estate asset classes in the world. Pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, private equity firms, and REITs are all competing to own data center assets. When a company moves its computing infrastructure into a data center, the cost and disruption of moving it out is enormous. Companies sign lease agreements with data centers measured not in months, but in years, sometimes in decades. This lease duration creates exactly the kind of long-term predictable cash flow that institutional investors find extremely attractive. A data center is a warehouse for the digital economy, but with the stickiness of a utility and the returns of a technology company. In 2024, global data center construction starts reached record levels with over 30 gigawatts of new capacity under development globally. The AI-driven demand surge has created genuine shortages of data center capacity in key markets. Lead times for new capacity now extend to 3 years or more in Northern Virginia, London, Frankfurt, Singapore, and Tokyo. Companies that need computing capacity cannot simply buy it. They are queuing for it, sometimes years in advance. Power is the ultimate constraint on data center growth. In Ireland, data centers already consume approximately 21% of the country's total electricity. Regulators have begun restricting new data center connections to the Dublin grid. The companies that secured grid connections early, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, now hold an infrastructure moat that new entrants cannot easily overcome. The data center industry is also the physical foundation of the entire artificial intelligence economy. Every AI model ever trained was trained inside a data center. Every time you ask an AI assistant a question, that query is processed inside a data center. The AI economy does not exist in the cloud in any metaphorical sense. It exists in specific buildings, consuming specific quantities of electricity and water. The AI revolution is at its physical foundation a real estate story, and the landlords of that real estate are positioned to collect rent on every AI query and every AI-powered product for decades to come. The next time you use an AI assistant, the next time you stream a video, the next time you send an email or back up a photograph, you are interacting with a physical building somewhere on Earth, a building with no windows, a building consuming enough electricity to power thousands of homes. A building that charges for every second of every day. The internet is not in the air, it is in the ground, in the cables, and in those buildings. And the companies that own those buildings have never been more powerful, more profitable, or more essential to the functioning of modern civilization.